What's wrong with Mother Nature? What's behind the ever-increasing devastating effects of natural disasters across the globe? Natural disasters face us on a yearly basis. Many occur on their own without any human interference. Disasters such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, tornadoes, and hurricanes often happen naturally. However, there are times when natural disasters occur as a direct result of human interference. For instance, erratic weather patterns. The more frequent occurrence of tropical cyclones and hurricanes may be as a result of climate change and global warming caused by human. Tropical storms are showing up in areas and regions they are never known to occur. Recently, we have been receiving reports in the news of hurricanes sweeping onto the Indian coast and southeastern coasts of Africa. Countries like Mozambique are not known to be paths of cyclones. Recent show-up of hurricanes in those areas multiple times is a sign that something bad is happening to the global weather patterns and systems. Disasters such as earthquakes and volcanic eruptions have existed long before any humans set foot on the planet. They are acts of nature that have always shaped the planet into what it is today. Without natural disasters such as volcanic eruptions, the Earth probably could never have warmed up well enough to the stage where it supports human life. To us, a supervolcano's eruption may be devastating to the local communities, but these are activities that have been going on for millions and millions of years before any human set foot on the planet Earth. The natural disasters that have been taking place in the last few years appear to be very apocalyptic. They are showing up more often than usual and doing more damage to nature and people that dwell in them. There is hard evidence that our planet is drawing closer to its final hours. People should brace for impact as the next big asteroid prepares to hit us and drive all forms of life into extinction. Some countries have learned to manage their disasters more than others. The richer and more capable nations have put measures in place to ensure that people survive any sudden show-up of an earthquake, hurricane, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, etc. In areas that are on the Pacific Ring of Fire, city authorities try to re-engineer all their construction techniques of all their buildings, bridges, and public works so that when earthquakes come, there is minimal damage to large structures and, more importantly, to have the least number of casualties. In some places, people build storm shelters to protect themselves just in case a tornado shows up. They build levees to protect their coastal cities from the surges that often arise. Unfortunately, those monsters, the hurricanes, typhoons, and tsunamis always make unannounced arrival and wreak enormous havoc on the communities. The hurricanes show up 5 times stronger, and the tsunamis show up 10 times bigger, pushing the water to rise higher than the levees, causing them to overflow, or break the banks, releasing an enormous flood to the densely populated cities. Despite all the preparations humans make in advance, despite all the technology in weather predictions, engineering, robust construction, and disaster management, nature can never be tamed. It's so wild, so fierce, so unpredictable, that it always overwhelms humanity despite all their intelligence. Say, for instance, you prepare yourself for an emergency that may occur in case your neighborhood finds itself in the path of an hurricane or a tornado. It turns out that those monsters never show up on your home radar, but instead a fierce blizzard unexpectedly shows up in your city and turns everything into ice. You have never seen such snow in your entire lifetime. It accumulates on power cables and causes them to break. All power in your little neighborhood is disconnected, and then electricity that was your only source of heating is now gone. You don't have any alternative source of heating. You reach for the telephone to call for help, but find it has no network connection. Your internet cable's probably sabered by the snow. You get out of your house so that you can drive off to get some fuel. You find that your car is covered with snow 10 foot high that has now turned into hard ice. All the roads and the rail tracks are blocked by unforgiving snow, with all routes out of your neighborhood now either damaged or blocked. You can't go anywhere. You can barely reach your neighbor for mutual support. You have been preparing all year round for the wrong natural disaster. Are you going to hide yourself in that little storm shelter that you have been building to now use to protect yourself from the biting cold? The recent bushfires have also raised a lot of eyebrows. A huge number of precious lives taken, while trillions lost in damage to property. If there were people who could predict the occurrence of such disasters, then the world would be a better place. I wish it was so. A farmer prepares to irrigate his fields in anticipation of a major drought, but instead unexpected downpour makes way. It floods his fields, washes away his crops and farm animals, leaving him destitute. A ski resort manager warns his tourist clients to watch out for the avalanches. They heed his warning and avoid the treacherous hilltops. In a twist of fate, the avalanches never occurs, but instead a landslide scurries downhill and buries the entire resort. The emergency teams are overwhelmed, help takes too long to arrive, and lives unfortunately get lost in the process. They have been preparing for avalanche emergencies for years. Now it's a mudslide. They are crippled by shock. Natural disasters effects unite people. Whenever such a calamity occurs, people from all over the world rush in to aid the victims of the aftermath. They forget their national and social differences as they sympathize with their fellow humans. If a huge, devastating natural disaster were to strike the Earth and take away half of its population, the remaining half will soon forget their disputed past and console one another. The harsher an environment is, the greater the need for safeguarding. In areas with populations that are prone to natural disasters, the more sophisticated their technologies need to be. Their protection and lifestyle systems naturally grow to a whole new level. They will learn to always prepare in advance. No matter how much you prepare, no matter how smart you think you are, nature will always catch you off guard and outwit you, to overpower you and leave you destitute. We shall all learn to fear and to respect Mother Nature.